Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mr. Karu channel. Today we are going to take a look at the data of what I have worn in the year 2021. So please stay tuned. Okay, so today we are going to take a look at what I have worn. I have taken all the data of which fragrance I worn each day, what was the temperature, what was the weather that day. So now I have a good amount of data that I can show to you today. We would like to look back and check what we have worn in 2021. I've taken this data from 1st of January 2021 to 31st December 2021, and that's a whole year, 365 days. When I count as one, it means that I myself thought I wore it. So if I tested it on a paper strip or just casually just tested something, that doesn't count as a wearing. It has to be a proper wearing for me to count this as one. So there can be days that I didn't wear anything at all, as well as wore multiple different fragrances in one day. That's kind of how this data is counted. Let's get into the data. Okay, so firstly, I would like to share with you the most worn brands of 2021. So number 10 is Nishane with 16 wearings. Number 9 is Frederic Malle with 18 wearings. Number 8 is Roja Parfums with 19 wearings. Number 7 is Chanel with 22 wearings. Number 6 is Guerlain with 24 wearings. Number 5 is Miya Shinma Parfums with 26 wearings. Number 4 is Creed with 33 wearings. Number 3 is Christian Dior with 33 wearings. Number 2 is Mugler with 35 wearings. And number 1 is Tom Ford with 44 wearings. Yeah, that's a list that I pretty much expected that it would turn out. Yeah, I kind of thought Tom Ford was coming at number 1, Mugler number 2, that Christian Dior. Quite surprised that Miya Shinma Parfums made it into number 5, but I think that's mostly because of gigantic discovery set, trying them out day in and day out, so I think that would be part of the reason that would be there. Yeah, all in all, something expected. Could pretty much tell what kind of fragrances I like from this list. Yeah, okay, so that was the top 10 brands that I wore in 2021. So now I would like to share with you what I have worn in different temperatures. So first of all, I would like to go with the cold weather fragrances. So these are the fragrances that I wore on and under 15 degrees Celsius. So I will share with you the top 3 from this list. Number 3 would be Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche with 5 wearings. Number 2 would be Tom Ford Noir Extreme with 6 wearings. And number 1 would be Mugler Amen Pure Malt with 7 wearings. So this is pretty much an expected list in the cold weather. These are very cold weather fragrances. Maybe Allure Homme Edition Blanche can be more on the warmer side of the cold fragrances, but anyways, they're all something that I really like. Yeah, and by the way, Mugler Amen Pure Malt is my favorite fragrance of all time, so that is definitely going to be in the list. Yeah, so those were the cold weather fragrances that I wore. Next, the top fragrances that I wore in moderate temperatures, which are ranging from 16 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. So number 3 would be Allure Homme Edition Blanche again with 5 wearings. Number 2 would be Sauvage Eau de Toilette Christian Dior with 7 wearings. And number 1 would be Roja Parfums Elysian Parfum Cologne with 10 wearings. So number 1 was Roja Parfums Elysian Parfum Cologne. This is an awesome fragrance. I took this on vacation with me earlier this year in the springtime, so this was the only fragrance that I took. It was a pretty long one, so I guess most of the wearings came from that, but all in all, a really great fragrance, a great alternative to Creed's Aventus, so I was wearing that a lot. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. The next one would be the warm weather fragrances, which are ranging from 26 degrees Celsius and above. So that would be basically for the warm weather, hot weather. Number 3 would be, there are 3 fragrances for number 3, and they all have 5 wearings each. Green Irish Tweed, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, Mugler Cologne, and number 2 would be, there's only one fragrance, Edit Jardin Tokyo, with 6 wearings. And there are 2 number 1s, and they would be Tom Ford Oud Wood and Hermes Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette. So what I wanted to really share with you guys is this absolute gem from Japanese fragrance house Edit, and this is Jardin Tokyo. This was one that I bought earlier this year. I thought I was gonna absolutely smash it with number 1, you know. But anyways, this is one of the fragrances that I really like. One of the best fragrances that I acquired this year. So if you have a chance, I would highly recommend you check it out. Though it's probably quite difficult to get your hands on if you're not in Japan. Wow. So this is awesome musky green freshie. Okay, so now I would like to go into the rainy day fragrances. So what were they? There's 6 different fragrances that are number 1, and they're all worn 4 times. So let's just say them out loud. Jean Varvaris Artisan Pure, Roja Parfums Elysium Parfum Cologne, Frederic Malle Geranium Pour Monsieur, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, Tom Ford Oud Wood, Christian Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. So they were all worn 4 times in the rainy weather. I don't think there's anything we can say about from this list. It's not like, oh, it's raining, I want to wear this one. Maybe Oud Wood, but otherwise I don't think there's any significance that we can point out from here, this data here. Next is sunny day fragrances. So this one makes a little bit more sense, I guess. Yeah, let's go. So number 3, there are 3 fragrances, and they're all 7 wearings. So there would be Creed Green Irish Tweed, Christian Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette, Hermes Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette. Number 2 is 8 wearings with Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. Number 1 is Mugler Cologne with 10 wearings. So yeah, I think this pretty much makes sense. You know, these are kind of similar with the warm weather fragrances. I guess Grey Vetiver is doing quite well because of the fact that I wore it to the office so many times. You know, these days I tend to go to the office when it's sunny and not raining. You know, when it's raining, I just decided to work from home, so it might make sense a little bit. And now I would like to share with you the top 5 office fragrances that I wore this year. So let's start with number 5. Number 5 is Frederic Malle Geranium Pour Monsieur with 5 wearings. There's 2 number 4 fragrances, and they both had 6 wearings. They are Edit Jardin Tokyo, and the other one is Christian Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. Number 3 had 7 wearings, Hermes Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette. Number 2 is Creed Green Irish Tweed with 8 wearings, and number 1 is Tom Ford Grey Vetiver with 10 wearings. So yeah, we can't deny the fact that Tom Ford Grey Vetiver is basically my personal best office fragrance. I really can't think of a better fragrance than, you know, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. It's nice and clean, fresh, sharp vetiver, which is so sophisticated, and you know, there's a serious vibe to it. It's just a perfect match for the office environment. Yeah, so that was the office fragrances that I wore. Next, I would like to go over the weekend holiday vacation fragrances, and I will share you the top 5. So number 5 would be Tom Ford Noir Extreme with 5 wearings. Number 4 would be Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb with 6 wearings. Number 3 is Mugler Cologne, again with 7 wearings. And number 2 would be Mugler Amen Ultra Zest with 8 wearings. And number 1 would be Roja Parfums Elysium Parfum Cologne. So yeah, so surprisingly we had Ultra Zest getting right then. Yeah, I mean, I really love this fragrance. I find myself reaching it a lot. I don't know, it's just that sweet, creamy orange popsicle vibe that I really like. It's so easy to wear. It's not as offensive as some of the other Amen fragrances for me. It's a happy vibe fragrance that I really enjoy wearing. So I'm not surprised that it's ranked in number 2 over here. Okay, so last but not least, I would like to share with you the top 4 most worn fragrance models that I wore in 2021. There are 15 fragrances in the top 4. So let's just jump in. Number 4 all had 8 wearings, and they are John Barbados Artisan Pure, Versace Dylan Blue, Frederic Malle Geranium Pour Mature, Tom Ford Noir Extreme, Tom Ford Oud Wood. Number 3, there are 6 fragrances in number 3, and they all had 10 wearings. They are Mugler Amen Pure Malt, Mugler Amen Ultra Zest, Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche, Edith Jardin Tokyo, Mugler Cologne, Hermes Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette. So they all had 10 wearings. That's a lot of number 3s. And number 2 is, there's 3 fragrances from number 2, and they all had 12 wearings. They are Creed Green Irish Tweed, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, Christian Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette. And then there's only one number 1 fragrance, and it had 14 wearings, and it was Roja Parfums Elysium Parfum Cologne. So yeah, that's a hefty list there, but yeah, pretty much this is basically the 15 most worn fragrances from my entire collection. And I mean, yeah, I kind of expected this. I'm kind of a little bit surprised that Allure Homme Edition Blanche made it into a lot of the lists from this, but yeah, but it's such an easy to wear fragrance that it's probably hard to resist, kind of thing. I find myself reaching it for a lot when I'm when I don't have a clue what to wear that day. So yeah, it's kind of those easy reaches for me, kind of like Sauvage Eau de Toilette. Yeah, so that pretty much covers what I have worn, what Mr. Karu has worn in the year of 2021. So there you go. It is, yeah, so it's the second time I've done this list. No, maybe third time, but the first one was only like half year. So keeping track of what you wore is a really good thing to do. I mean, I guess you really get to find out what you really like. I highly recommend you to try this out on your own. Yeah, so that pretty much covers today's topic. And if you like my content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Basically, from this year, I'll be doing whatever I did in Japanese. There will always be a English version for it. So see you in the next video. Bye.